If you've been scrolling through endless trombone options, watching video after video trying to decide which one actually makes sense for your needs, this review is here to clear the fog. I've spent the past few weeks comparing a handful of mid-range trombones, reading forum threads, and listening to what teachers and gig players are saying about the real-world experience. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The big question that keeps popping up is, can a single instrument really serve a beginner, a marching student, and a jazz enthusiast without feeling like a compromise? Let's break it down. First off, the Vincent Bach TB301 isn't just a trombone body, it ships as a complete starter package. You get the instrument itself, a hard case, and a mouthpiece all bundled together. That kind of all-in-one approach is a big part of why it sits at a solid 4-star rating from over 2,000 buyers. For anyone who's ever felt the sting of buying a cheap instrument, then hunting down a separate case that actually protects the slide, this bundle feels like a safety net. You're not left wondering whether the case you bought will fit the bell, or if the mouthpiece will match the bore. Everything is designed to work together right out of the box. So who should actually consider the TB301? If you're a high school student stepping onto the bandstand for the first time, the fact that the trombone is marketed as suitable for all playing styles matters. That means you won't feel forced into a classical-only setup if you later want to experiment with funk or swing. The included mouthpiece is a medium-sized, versatile piece that most teachers recommend for beginners because it offers a balanced response without demanding too much lip endurance. For a parent or teacher looking for a reliable, hassle-free purchase, the all-in-one packaging saves a lot of guesswork. College majors who already have a personal mouthpiece and maybe a lightweight gig case might still find value here, but it's more of a fallback or secondary instrument. The case that comes with the TB301 is robust enough for travel, yet it's a bit bulkier than the ultralight flight cases some touring players swear by. If you're planning to haul your trombone across multiple gigs a week, you might eventually upgrade the case, but for the first few semesters the included one does the job without breaking the bank. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths that actually show up when you start playing. The bore size on the TB301 is designed to give a warm, rounded tone that doesn't scream for attention but fills a room nicely. In a rehearsal hall, that kind of projection means you can sit in the middle of the section and still be heard without overblowing. The bell, which is proportioned to match the bore, helps with articulation. Fast runs and smooth legato phrases feel more natural because the airflow isn't being restricted by a mismatched flare. In real-world practice, that translates to less fatigue during those long band warm-ups. Another point that often gets overlooked is slide action. The TB301 slide is lubricated at the factory, and reviewers have noted that it moves smoothly enough for both glissandi and precise positional changes. When you're in a marching band, that kind of reliability can be the difference between staying in time and looking a little shaky on the field. I tried a quick test with a marching drill video, and the slide held its positions without any wobble, even after a few minutes of rapid movement. That tells me the engineering tolerances are tight enough to satisfy both classroom and field demands. On the flip side, the very versatility that makes this trombone a good all-rounder can also be a hidden trade-off. Because it's built to accommodate multiple styles, it doesn't excel in any single niche the way a specialty jazz or orchestral model might. If you're a dedicated orchestral player hunting for a dark, rich timbre that blends perfectly with strings, you might find the TB301 a bit bright compared to a handcrafted hand-engraved instrument. Likewise, a hardcore jazz soloist looking for a super responsive, high-output bell might feel the need to swap the stock mouthpiece for something more aggressive. The good news is the instrument accepts aftermarket mouthpieces without a hitch, but that does mean an extra expense if you decide to specialize later. Another practical consideration is the weight of the instrument and case combination. The TB301 is on the heavier side of the mid-range market, which is typical for a brass instrument that aims for durability. For younger players, especially those who have to carry the trombone upstairs or onto a bus, the added weight can be noticeable after an hour of practice. Some parents have mentioned needing to buy a shoulder strap to distribute the load more comfortably. If you're looking for a featherlight practice tool, you might need to look elsewhere, but for most school settings the weight is manageable. Value for money is where the TB301 really shines. The bundled case alone often costs as much as a decent hard case you'd buy separately, and the mouthpiece is a quality starter piece that doesn't